Hey friends, I am headed out to water some flowers and just make sure that my watering system is working on my plants, and thought you might like to join me. So come along, let's go. Oh, look, my dove. I love my dove. I know sometimes you guys have seen me post about how the dove comes every year, and here's my dove. Oh, my flag scared me. It started waving in the wind, and so it scared me. How funny. Anyway, that was thrilling. So anyway, just to kind of take you back a little bit, so these are some of the flowers that I planted. I think we planted these around November time frame. They were much smaller back then. Dan put these planters together for me last summer, and we have just got so much enjoyment. So what we'll do is we'll tend to put some different annuals and perennials in them and watch them grow. And then after they outgrow this little area, they'll kind of end up over in our little area that we have kind of to the side of our walkway that goes back to the backyard. So you can see where over here we have some of our succulents, and you know, I'm just not one that always knows the names of everything I have, so sorry about that, but there's probably some of you are a lot more expert at this than I am. But I do know that those are like my lantanas, and of course our little Christmas trees that we use, our pines that we use at the Christmas time. We usually have a bow in those and decorate those up and put one over on our porch over here. My rose bush. Don't always get a lot of roses out of this thing. Sometimes it blooms at the oddest time, so I'm not sure what type of a rose bush it is, but I love roses and I need to get me more, and I plan on getting more. But it's a beautiful little red rose, and it's a little miniature rose. Unlike my neighbors who has these beautiful roses over here, they're yellow and red. I want to plant more. Then I've got my little succulents here that Dan has planted several years ago. We almost lost them last year. It's this bucket and this one. We almost lost them last year because it just got so hot. And unfortunately, we also had a tree removed last year that used to give them a little bit of shade. And but anyway, we almost lost them, so some of them are coming back. It's about time for me to kind of do some grooming on them, but probably work on that this weekend. And then this little guy, literally almost lost him, and but it's a vinca, so vincas will always come back if you just give them enough time. Look, got this little wild weed that wants to grow in. Man, if you don't take care of those and keep those out of them, they're just going to take over. So yeah, God even made weeds. He makes the flowers, but he also made the weeds. These are there's some type of a daisy. I can't remember what kind of daisy, and I just took them back up, replanted them back in some others because they weren't doing well where I had them originally. So I'm going to try to nurse those back to health with some fresh soil and some nutrients, and see what I can do with those in my yard. But those are some lantanas that we've had for over a year. I took them out of our boxes in the fall. We put them back in planters, just kind of put them over here to continue to allow them to thrive and grow. And we have plans to actually move those a little bit closer in the yard as well. But we really have begun to really love the lantanas, so we actually picked up some more. So these are purple lantanas, and what you're going to find is Dan really loves purple, the purple flowers. He loves the pop of color in them. So we're going to be planting those all up and down here. And then I also got me some more vincas because I have some pots in the backyard that I need to fill up with some more flowering around the pool. So before the summer hits in. And vincas, we have found in this area, tend to be a very good flower to plant because it just can really, really withstand the our summers. But they're so beautiful. They're just gorgeous. And these little flowers were in my front pots, where I'll show you in a little bit, that we had planted in the fall, but they're kind of coming to their prime time right now. It's going to get really too hot for them, but I'm going to try to maintain them the best I can through the hot spell. I'll probably have to move these where they're going to get a little bit more shade once the heat really kicks in this next weekend. So probably I'm going to have to find them some time in the shade. But right now they're still doing really well. I just have to maintain their watering, at this point. So, and then this is the front entryway. These little guys, I have to tell you, when we first planted, we have one in our backyard, and I've always loved that it's an evergreen, but the color of green is really pretty. And when Dan first planted the one in the backyard, I wasn't a big fan of it, but through the years, it just kind of grew on me, and I just love how it just maintains this color year round. I do have to be careful with it though, because if it gets too much sun and not enough water, these will kind of burn on me a little bit. And there's some more of my vincas. Love those. I actually almost lost these. There's a story behind the reason I almost lost these. It's unbeknownst to me, it appeared that somebody turned off the watering spigot, that's not the right word, the water, how we water them with the watering system. It's like somebody had turned it off. And I thought, well, who in the world would do that? So I reopened it, started watering again. Like 2 weeks later, it happened again. And we're like, is somebody playing a prank on us? We're like, what is going on? So we're not sure why they're suddenly turned off. And so now I've kind of got it, a plan in place where I just check my sprinkler system weekly to make sure that it's all working well. And it's really weird, because even this week I found a couple of my pots up front that were turned off. And so surely there's not somebody turning off my water at the plant level. It's just really odd, and we don't know if it has something to do with water pressure or whatever, but in any event, it's been happening. Okay, but I gotta share these right here. See these right here? These are Heaven's Breaths. Now these are the pink ones, but I literally love these. When these start to flower and get big, you can kind of see the wispy tops of them. See how there's just kind of a little wispiness here? That will just get bigger as they get older. They get bigger, and it just gets almost, I don't know, it's just a magical little bush, and I love it so much. I had one in my backyard, but again, last summer, we just lost a lot of our plants because it just got overwhelmingly hot, and it just really did burn a lot of our plants. And what I found is these really have to have consistent shade. So they can't be in the sun, even though it's a six plus hour plant. It can't be in that afternoon sun. So I have these now planted where it's getting all the morning sun. And then by the time that afternoon and evening sun comes in, these will be shaded. In fact, it's like 11 o'clock now, so probably in the next hour, this area will be a little bit more in the shade. And then these are my calla lilies. Most of you probably have calla lilies, but this is a beautiful white flower that will pop up every year around Easter. It's already done some flowering. I don't know if it's going to do any more. Typically, it will flower all the way through June for me, but for some reason this year it flowered real early, so I'm not sure if I will get any more flowers this year. But in any event, the leaves alone they're just gorgeous. And then once they die off, we have to cut them completely back, so this area gets a little bare for a while. But this time of year, it's just gorgeous. So, oh, and then here is the front. You can see we have these pots here. We just put these pots with the yellow. Oh goodness, I wish Dan was here. He could tell you what flower it is, but it's gorgeous, and that yellow just pops out and just says spring to us, and we just love it. And so these are kind of new for us this year. And when I got home with these, look what we found in the center. Oh my gosh, look at those. Those were just little surprises to us in there. And that one has it. This one I don't think had any, but then this one has some that were, uh-oh, something's been eating that flower. I'm gonna have to look, make sure I don't have any pests in there. See, something's eating it. But anyway, look, just those little surprises. I was showing those to the twins last night, and they got a real kick out of it. And then this one has a few of them in there as well. So, you know, I just love how those little things will hide in. So probably at the nursery where they were originally planted, some seeds got into the soil of these pots. So, and it's just such a lovely surprise. So cute. And but anyway, and then these, we've had these, this is our second year with these, and they're looking pretty rough right now. I need to go through and kind of deadhead all of this off, but I can't do that and hold the phone as well. But these are fun. These are a fun spot of color as well. And these are what I will be replacing this weekend. And I'm not sure yet with what. Dan thought maybe just with some of those lantanas, which we did have lantanas up there last year, which is what we repotted and are over on the side yard right now. But I don't know. I haven't decided yet. We saw a video where somebody said you got to have a thriller, a filler, and a spiller. So I'm kind of thinking that through on what I can find to do that. So, and then these this year, oh my goodness, these have totally blossomed out this year. We planted them about 3 years ago, and these are called carpet roses. And man, these guys are just showing off this year. Absolutely showing off. I love it. Love it, love it. And you can see how it is kind of spreading sideways. That's why they call it the carpet rose. And you can see in here I have a flag. That's from an old bulb of some flags that we used to have on this area. But anyway, so what will happen is these will kind of shoot up a little bit, and then as they get older, they're going to kind of, some of them are going to kind of move down, and it's going to fill, it should fill this entire area. But this will be our third season with these carpet roses. So this year it seems like they just doubled in size. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do this year. These do have thorns though, and so being at the very side, I do get concerned about it. But the thorns aren't really huge like on a typical rose bush. But they're so beautiful. I love them. Don't even talk to me about my lawn. I'm a little frustrated with my lawn right now. And then over here, it looks like I've got some more weeding to do. And then, so these are a type of a daisy that I took out last weekend and replanted, and I'm going to try to nurture them back. These seem to still be thriving. They're still, the greenery itself still looks pretty good. So I'm going to just really keep watering them and see what may happen. Maybe they're just in shock, but look at these African daisies. Oh my goodness, these should get big, and they're purple. So who do you think really chose those? One guess. His name's Daniel. This little guy he comes up every year. It's time to cut him back. So this weekend I will be cutting him back, and he'll come back again next year. And so yeah, so that's kind of my front yard. Oh, I did miss my lilies. These are kind of a hybrid, and I tried some hibiscus here. So I need a deadhead. I need to get all the old flowers off of this. But I picked these up a few weeks ago, and oh my goodness, I am not disappointed in these whatsoever. I still need to do a little bit of work of opening that soil up in the bottom and getting that planter a little bit deeper, but hopefully they'll get just a little bit taller. And but look at all those, look at all of the buds that are just coming in. So this thing is just gonna just keep giving. It's a gift that keeps giving. And then we've got this one over here. So it's kind of symmetrical that I have one on each side of my garage or garage, whatever you want to call it. Again, the buds that are going to be coming up on this thing are just incredible. And don't you just love those white flowers? I love them. This is what I get to do every morning after my prayer time and after my walk. I will typically come out and do some watering, do some weeding. I'm not real great about weeding every day, but I typically do try to do it once a week. And then I come back here. I've got, this is, sorry, I can't remember the name, but he's a crawler. And look, like he's already trying to reach to my tree. So I did pull him up on a stake so he would try to quit reaching to the tree. And Dan picked this little lattice thing up for me. And so this weekend I'm going to try to connect him to this trellis. I said lattice, but it's a trellis. So that he can climb that and it not get on my chairs or on my fence. So that is definitely something I'm going to be working on this weekend. Okay, so, oh gosh, our gazebo. Let me talk to you about this. Shut the gate first. Let me talk to you about this. So this gazebo has a lot of history. I'll have to talk to you about it at some point. But I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, where are we at? Oh, sorry, I made you dizzy. So see the foil? So I was asking different people because we had these stored under a tarp all winter, and when we pulled the tarps back, they were full of cat hair. So we found out that the cats next door had been all summer long or all winter long had been sleeping under the tarp on top of our cushions. And so let me tell you, when I say it was quite the feat trying to get all the cat hair off, but I did. And so anyway, I asked different friends on Facebook, saying, hey, how do I keep these cats off? And so somebody said, put foil down. Cats don't like foil. So I did. And I even put it here on the fence because this is their entryway. So they'll go from my neighbor's house, their fence, and I think they've got 4 cats, and they will come here. And so this is where they'll usually step. But you can see there's just that one little corner, which looks like we need to hammer in a nail, that they still will make their way. A couple of times they've made their way over, but then they're unhappy because they don't have a way back. So I did actually see one cat literally perch on that little corner and jump down to the electrical box and then down to my little table here. But anyway, so I have foil here. This is one of the suggestions, and I don't remember who suggested it, but let me just tell you, it works. The cats have absolutely stayed off of my cushions. Oh, looks like we have a fail here. Okay, so anyway, I did just recently get some cat mats that have like little pokies, so cats won't want to get on them either. So I'm going to try that too. So here's the original. Remember I showed you this little fern in my front pot, or my front yard, my front area walkway, where I have 3 more. And so this is my original one. He's probably about 8 or 9 years old, and he loves life right here. And my camellia bush. These are all on watering systems, so I certainly don't have to worry about watering. But as you can tell, I've got some work to do around my pool because I did lose some plants last year. Let me let Lily in. She is broken, having a heart attack, wants to come in. And she can actually go through the fence post, but she refuses to if she sees that I'm actually here. So this pot right here is one where I originally had my heaven's breath that I was talking about, those little bushes up front that I love. And when they died in the summer's heat, I replaced them with these little flowers that had this kind of a purple blue. It's just a beautiful, beautiful blue there and there. And so I'm hoping that they will really give me some good life this summer. But this little guy, I've got to figure out what to do with him. He's got some new growth this year, but I really thought we kind of lost him. But there is some new growth, but I do need to, it's some type of a bamboo plant, but let me tell you guys, last summer, oh my goodness, it was gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous, these three. And they just showed off. It's just one of those things where you just can sit back and say, Lord, thank you so much. Ooh, look. How did those weeds get there? Looks like somebody put them there. No, it means somebody didn't get them out. But here, these little pots, last year we had this type of a flower, and unfortunately, again, I don't know what type of flower it was, so I need to look it up so I can replace them. This one looks like it's coming back out, so I'm very happy about it. I think this one will be very full, and it should start to bloom here pretty quick. This one, you can tell, it's got just a little bit of the flowering, but I think I'm going to take some of the vincas that we bought and put them, just kind of fill this pot with the vincas, because they're so durable. And then this one has some new blooming happening with the greenery, but I might go ahead and put a couple of vincas in that as well, just to fill in, to make sure that it's completely full. So yeah, so that's some of my flowers. These are all on watering systems, so I don't have to worry about watering all of these back here, which is kind of nice, but I still do have to make sure the weeds are pulled. And I definitely have something eating a few of my plants that I'm going to have to fill up. So anyway, let me show, oh look who was here last night. So Thursday night is our family dinner night, and these are my grandkids, and it looks like some poor sloth got left behind and slept outside all night long. One of my grandkids is not going to be happy that Mr. Sloth did not go home with them. And so I need to make sure to take that back in the house. These are some of the chairs that were under the patio. You can still see I'm still working on the cat hair on these, but I gave up on it that one day. Now these are new for me. So these plants, I can't tell you what they are. I need to figure it out. But I planted these because these like sun, but they also don't like a lot of sun. So they're a little bit more delicate. So I went ahead and put them in this area. You can see it's morning, and so they're not going to get sun most of the day until the very evening. So they'll get the evening sun, which is, I hopeful it's enough sun to help them grow, but not too much to make them die in the summer. But I want you to just look at that flower. Like, how can you say there's not a creator? Like, can somebody tell me, how in the world could this, right here, how could this develop out of absolutely nothing? No, there had to be a creator. Like, goodness gracious. These are really gonna bud here. Let's see, look at this one. Look at that, look at the detail. Look at that, it's just so beautiful and inspiring. I had to have, it's one of those flowers I just absolutely had to have. Oh, you know what it's called? I think they're called the columbine. Now I think about it, columbines. And the coloring, it's just, look at that. Like, sorry if I'm making you dizzy, but oh my goodness. It's just absolutely beautiful, beautiful. I just can't get over it. And then this is what my kids created, my grandkids, my grandjoys. So that couldn't come from nothing either. Oh, they crack me up. So the story behind why we have this here is because they love sand. And I had a sand table, but when you have 3 grandkids that all want to play in the sand, and it's hard for them because they're getting taller, and so the sand table is a little low for them. So I had this little area that I would just keep flowers in, but I hadn't been able to do it for a few years because of grandchildren, that it just got ran over a lot with tricycles or toys, or, you know, just how kids can be a little bit hard on flowers. So I kept flowers out of it for quite a while. And so this past year, I noticed when they would play at the sand table, a lot of the sand would end up in this little pit area. So I told Dan, let's just pour sand here this year. And you know what? They love it. So last night, looks like they crushed it, but last night they built a sand castle and they just had the best time. And it was kind of cool. I love that they love to play out here and do that. So that has become right now a temporary sandbox. And another reason why I don't want cats in my backyard, other than the fact that they scare my dog. They scare her to a point of barking. These are, okay, don't judge me on these. I definitely have to do some deadheading on these, but these sunflowers, oh my goodness, how gorgeous are those? So these are from last year. And these things are black-eyed Susans. They are absolutely gorgeous. I thought we lost them through the winter because we had put them off to the side, and I unfortunately did not continue to water them. And we don't get tons of water in the winter. We just get cold. But anyway, they weren't getting water. So I'm trying to bring them back to life here. And because these are not currently on a watering system, so I have to water them every day, I know these are going to get watered every day, so I've got them here for that reason. But yeah, so these little guys, I love these. They're starting to just really bloom, and the bees love to work these. So pretty incredible. So they do need to be trimmed. Don't judge. And then, hey, look at that. This was my husband's latest project. We already had a shed, and but he wanted for me to get all my gardening stuff out of his shed, so he just finished this week. Isn't that cool? I love that my husband is able to make stuff like this for me. And so high up latch, and then we're still working on it. I do have my lawnmower in here already though, but right now he's got to, this weekend, he's going to work on the organization part of it. And this is Alex's work. He's decided, he was helping Papa the other day, and he put all the wood pieces in here for him. Isn't that sweet? Alex is a 3-year-old twin, and he loves to work beside his Papa. He's a little helper. So anyway, that's kind of my day, and I've got to go through and I've got to water them, and of course now I've got to clean up this. And oh, I do have these. I did cut these bottle bushes down last year because they were so overgrown, so I did cut them back, so they're rejuvenating and coming back. This one right here is a potato plant that I planted. I was at my neighbor's probably about 6 months ago, and she had this beautiful plant in her backyard, and it almost looked like a tree, how she had grown it. And so I'm going to somehow make mine look hopefully as pretty as hers in that center there. We've tried a couple of different trees, and for some reason the trees die there. We're not sure if it's something in the soil. So I decided, you know what, let's try this and see if this will work. And guys, I don't even want to talk about my grass. I'm so frustrated with my grass. I've done weed and feed. I've done so many things, but before I retired, we had a gardener, and I think going house to house and not cleaning the mower in between has just brought in all this burr weed. So when I'm talking about burr weed, I'm talking about the weed that makes the stickers. And I want grass that I can walk barefoot on. And so these little bare areas right here is me taking out some of the burr weed. And as I started here, got through this area, and then I looked up and I looked at my grass, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like 50% of my grass has been taken over by this burr weed. And so I sprayed some weed and feed, sprayed some weed and feed about 3 weeks ago. And it's not killing it off. And I'm so frustrated with it. I just want to burn it. And I can't afford to pull it up and start over. So I've got to try to come up with ways to get rid of all this burr weed. And it's just all in my grass. And I'm so frustrated. This grass used to be so green and plush and beautiful, but it has just taken over my lawn completely. It looks like there's one area where it kind of died. I think that's more of a crabgrass that died from the weed and feed rather than the burr weed. But, you know, I think of weeds like this in my grass, and it always just kind of takes me back to the gospel, you know, of the Lord tells us to stay away from so many things because, you know, evil is crouching, searching. And unfortunately, if we just take a little bite of sin, how it will just overtake. And I think of that whenever I think of weeds, especially like this burr weed. Because initially, when you look at it in the winter, it's all nice and green. It makes your lawn look plush and green. And it's just mixed right in with your rest of your grass. But then as the heat comes in and comes on, you start seeing the stickers, and it starts to turn just a different color. And then you recognize, wait a minute, it's not the same as my grass. And it just happens so quick, so quick. So I'm frustrated with it. And I'm sure in the same way the Lord gets frustrated with us whenever we make a mistake that kind of causes some burr weeds in our lives. So I cut these guys back last week. So they all had haircuts, including that one. That's what's wrong with that. He started invading my border here, so I had to take him back so he wasn't in the wrong space. But anyway, that's kind of been a journey that you've taken with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. And now I've got to go water it all. I hope you guys have a blessed day.